am so honored to be here. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Before we do anything else, I really want us to just take a moment to honor those we lost in Parkland, to honor the families that are touched by grief, the 9 BBYO family members here that are from that high school. I pray peace on all the families that were touched by this horrible tragedy, and I pray that God gives us the courage as a nation to do what is necessary to protect life. So I've been thinking a lot about what I want to say to you today, what part of myself I want to share with you, what part of myself I actually want to leave with you. And it had me reflecting a lot on the moment that life demanded that I engage in the debate over my future and the future of over 1 million young undocumented immigrants. It's hard when you're living through a struggle to recognize the importance that you are the answer to someone else's struggle. But when life asked me to step forward, I did. I'm a dreamer. We're called dreamers for legislation called the DREAM Act. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We are a generation of young immigrants who have grown up in the US, who are American in every way but paperwork. My journey to this stage, my journey to this moment with all of you started at a time when I felt powerless. I felt unseen, I was frightened, I felt forgotten. But I realized, like most of you already have, that for change to happen, we all have to get involved. And realizing that, I took a small step. And when life demanded that I do more, I accepted that challenge. And because I've never really been one to wait for permission, I seem to often find myself being the first. And I have no doubt that I am in very good company here with a lot of firsts. Am I not? I think that's why I have so much, the comfort level here is amazing, because I feel like I'm with family right now. Being the first is difficult and necessary, and we all have to do our part, and we all have to do what we need to do. But let's be clear, I'm not always boldly going where no one has gone before, but rather I push past my fears and I do what needs to be done. That is our responsibility as a people. That is our responsibility as citizens of the world. As young people, it can be easy to feel overwhelmed by all of the struggles that our world is facing. And it can be intimidating to deal with the adults that sometimes cause these problems, and even the ones that are trying to find the solutions. But there has to be a realization of the importance of your voice, my voice, of all of our voices, as young, as old, as in the middle. There's an importance for us to speak up, to speak out, and challenge what is the norm. When you get intimidated by those that are in power, those that say they know, those that have been educated in the way of doing things a certain way and refuse to evolve with the times and understand that sometimes those of us that don't have those skills that they were maybe born with or have learned can be just as necessary to the struggle. It is important to remember that if they knew all that they were doing, racial injustice will still not be so persistent in our nation and in our world. If they knew exactly what they were doing, the refugee crisis would not be getting worse. If they knew exactly what they were doing, gun control will not be just something we still talk about in theory. What all of this means is that we need you. We need all of you. We need your voice. We need your talent. We need your innovative insights. And we don't need you in the future. We don't need you tomorrow. We need you today, because my present and my future and your present and your future depends on whether or not you take up that mantle and you speak up. There is no age of entry to begin living every day with purpose. There is no requirement to be of a certain race, a certain gender, or nationality to change a life, to change a nation, to change the world. But what is required is a willingness to put aside your own ambition, to put aside your own fears and do something, big or small, do something. Each and every one of us has been entrusted with the sacred duty to fill the gap between our ideals and the reality of the world we live in. We must be the ones to welcome the stranger into our land. We must be the ones to realize Dr. King's dream of judging people by the content of their character and not by the color of their skin. We can and we must be the ones to shatter that glass ceiling that stops women and girls from achieving their potential. And do you know why? Because BBG's power cannot be contained. You are all here today because you have taken an important step to building a fairer, more just world. And as you go through this weekend, I ask you to take every opportunity to learn all that you can and be determined to do your part, no matter how big, no matter how small. Turn every good intention into action and choose to be a part of the solution rather than unintentionally complicit in the problem. Use your time, your talent, and all of your treasure in support of others. And always remember, although our purpose may be beyond our capacity to imagine, it is never beyond our capacity to achieve. Thank you.